Hi, this is Deck speaking, Deck Cluskey. 4 months on the net with Deck. Makehits.com. Send me an email, deck@makehits.com, or share, comment. The more shares you make, you could be in for this nice prize that I'm going to give in a few weeks' time. Just watch this space. So, I mentioned the word dangerous last week. I use that word a lot in my writings, telling people how to be successful. And I say it about music, you know. If you're the Enter Shakira type people, very dangerous, very near the edge. They know what they're doing, they're going to get attention. And Chris, a member of the Serious Writers Guild, emailed me last week and asked me how he could be successful in the comedy business. He wanted to get on TV. I said, you're not going to get on TV, just working regularly, as he said, and more or less implying that he was working in working men's clubs, tennis clubs. If you're working regularly in those places, you certainly will not get success unless you are dangerous. Now, what does dangerous mean? I'll tell you what dangerous means. It means going on stage and performing in such a way that people go like that. Now that, in the past 10 years or so, that could be with foul language. We got a guy in this country called Jimmy Carr, and he does an act which you'll rarely see on television. I actually saw it on television. I've seen him live, by the way. He was performing in the same hotel that my brother and I were performing in. I went to see him, and I was quite frankly quite disappointed. He just read his act off a laptop or a tablet, wherever it was, on the podium. Not impressed. But his act was probably the most dangerous act in the world, and it was based on the premise that he was leading up to getting the audience to ask him to tell the filthiest, rudest joke ever told on stage. Now, the way he did it was totally brilliant, totally brilliant. You can imagine him telling a sort of a semi-blue gag and then going on and saying, do you want me to tell a ruder one? What's the audience going to say? Of course! And then finally he says, towards the end of the act, he says, do you want me to tell you the rudest joke I've ever heard in my life? And of course the audience go wild. And he tells this joke, and honestly, it is disgusting. But, and then he finishes his act by saying, I know exactly the joke you're going to tell your friends tomorrow when you go into work. And he's absolutely right. So that is hugely dangerous. So dangerous can come in that way. Filth, I don't know. I think filth has had its time now. And the sensible people, there are some sensational comics in Britain now who have actually cut out all the F words and the C words and all that out of their act completely. And they're benefiting hugely. Because when you think about it, mainstream television will not use you if your act is completely dependent on those words. I'm not saying that an odd F word isn't very funny. If, very important this, if the joke depends on it. There are certain jokes that I can tell you, and if you don't use the F word, it's just not funny. Yes, so, but if you use the F word, it is hysterically funny. So that is dangerous. You can do dangerous things like run around the audience. Guys in the past, in the old times, used to do what they call seat walking. They'd actually run around the audience on the backs of the seats. Can you imagine how dangerous that was? In old-fashioned theatres, running along the side of the boxes on the side, and then jumping up onto the front of the balcony and running along the balcony whilst performing. Is that dangerous? That is incredibly dangerous. There are all sorts of other ways of being dangerous. There's a circus of horrors. If you Google it, Circus of Horrors, lots of guys that I know are in the Circus of Horrors, and they do stuff on stage which shouldn't really be done in public. Almost blowing bits of their anatomy off. I won't tell you what bits of the anatomy, leave that to your imagination, but somewhere down there. There's one guy specialises in putting an explosion there and blowing himself up. That is dangerous. As regards singing, again dangerous. If you're old enough to remember the famous hit, Tiptoe Through the Tulips, a mammoth, worldwide, multi-million hit because it was just so outrageous and so dangerous. So as regards comedy, I mean, why not? The next show you do, Chris, why not engineer a situation where you jump up on the front table and you do 10 minutes of your act from there? And then you grab somebody up on the stage and you actually put them down on a chair and sit on their knee for no reason whatsoever other than you're stupid and dangerous. Just some ideas, off the wall ideas. But comedy, to make it nowadays, you have to be quite different, quite innovative and dangerous. So this is Jack out on the Eastbourne Downs. I always swing around to show you where I am. It's beautiful up here. You've got to join me here sometime. It's absolutely gorgeous. Jack, 4 minutes on the net with Jack. Don't forget to share this with your friends. Share this with everybody. The more people you share it with, I've got my big competition coming up. Not a competition, a draw. See you next week. Bye.